Let's Ruin It podcast, where we take your favorite pop culture media, put a legal spin on it, and like all lawyers, we ruin it. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jenny. I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts.
Hello, it's Diana.
And it's Liz.
Guys, we have been teasing this for months now. We have been talking about it. We have found a way to discuss it in every single other episode that we've ever done.
Always mentioning it somehow.
Always mentioning it. We are doing Twilight. We are finally doing Twilight.
Dreams do come true.
Diana and I could not be more excited.
I know.
Liz,
Everything can be likened to Twilight. We've found a way.
everything always comes back to
Everything
Twilight.
comes back to Twilight. Like, the most serious movies, the lighthearted movies, Disney movies, everything's Twilight.
There's just so many things that we could talk about and so many things we can address and so many. You said it best earlier that this is just like a part of American history.
It's a part of American history, and our producer Josh, who is unaware of any part of Twilight or any of it, I had to, I called him out for not knowing a huge part of American history. So
And
I know American history, just not the Twilight.
Twilight is part of American history.
it's going to be in the history books.
Yeah.
It will.
Move over, Great Gatsby.
Liz just asked what team we're on, and I couldn't even believe that was
It's not a real question.
It's not a real
There's
question.
only one team.
Listen, I am also Team Edward. However, I have to point out and defend the contingency of fans that are loyal to Team Jacob.
But
We can't ignore them.
I think someday I'm going to have to understand their perspective and what their strong arguments are.
You mean
Especially after the events of
young
Breaking Dawn.
guys,
I know.
Hot young guys who are tan, ripped, killer abs. This you need to explain?
But hold on.
But that's not who's right for Bella. Bella
by the
is
way-
a pale, pasty,
She
sullen
is pale and pasty.
teenager.
That's true.
she looks just like me.
She's a classic vampire.
She was never meant to be with a werewolf.
But also in the context of then what we learn in Breaking Dawn
Mm-hmm.
and why Jacob was so attached to Bella, right? How could you still be Team Jacob?
yeah.
Right? Like the reason that he was so what he thought in love with Bella was because he was always
Eventually going to be in love with her baby.
daughter, her vampire baby.
Which we'll get into.
Oh, we're jumping ahead.
Oh my God. That's
That does not downplay.
Yeah, that he was hot.
yeah, he's
Correct.
hot.
But besides that,
Yeah.
also what he did for her as a friend.
Yes, 1,000%.
When Edward abandoned her ass.
1,000%.
Okay. Who was there? Who was there?
It was Jacob.
But
You're
he
right.
abandoned her for her to protect her.
That's bullshit.
I don't know.
But well, we can certainly get into that.
Yes.
The whole
please.
I'm
no
gonna
good
see
for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
But Jacob was there for her as a friend. He was strictly friend zoned. Like he
Right.
was put right into the friend zone.
Right. Well,
You know what?
whatever.
Let's get into it.
This is, you know what? He's her Dawson.
Oh, that's true.
He's her Dawson. It's just her BFF, and that's it. And I mean, I think similarly, you can say that you're Team Pacey.
I love
But
Dawson.
I know, and I love Dawson too. But I was Team Pacey in terms of
I
a
was
love match.
absolutely Team Pacey.
So
I
this
will
is the
say
same
that.
thing. I think
That's
that
true.
like Jacob is her Dawson.
Guys.
Okay.
Jacob's wife is Team Edward.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
Yet she married Jacob. So
Sure.
Because she's not Bella.
because hot abs.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, guys.
All right.
We are going to talk about it. We have so many things
So many
to
things.
discuss.
We're going to try to be super organized.
There's actually a lot more legal issues than you would think in a
course there
completely
are.
fictional vampire werewolf story.
1,000%
We're going to try to
there
group
are.
these together in subtopics.
And
lot of-
try to stay organized.
Yes,
for you.
and we're going to try to go, we're going to hit on all of the movies.
So we might not necessarily be chronological
Yes.
because we're trying to go
We're gonna
theme
try
by theme.
and jump
Yeah.
around because there's just too much. But
Jump,
go, Jenny,
jump around.
jump around.
Okay, we are going to start with.
Wait, can I just note that we're doing
Yeah.
all 4 books
Five,
slash
yeah.
5
Essentially,
movies.
yeah.
We're not just doing the first Twilight movie. We're doing the entire canon.
Well,
Yes.
and let's be clear: the first Twilight movie was absolutely subpar.
I mean, I think it's
mean-
a masterpiece, but sure. No.
Come on,
I think-
all 3 of us read the books,
Yes.
and I loved the books.
Love the books.
Loved the books.
Devoured.
When I saw the first movie, I was crushed.
Yeah.
Crushed at what
And then
they
I
did
was
to it.
there opening night for the second movie. It did
course.
not matter.
I was
Show me
too, but
whatever you wanna
I
show
will
me.
say I liked the second movie better, and then Breaking Dawn was even better.
I mean, all of them
I
are.
think,
yeah.
No, I think they got progressively worse.
Oh, no, really?
See, I think they got better.
No.
No. They had to like change the actress in the second one. The third one, I don't even really acknowledge as like a real.
What?
The third one is like a placeholder of sorts.
I don't know. They get like more hot people as time goes on, though. So
Yeah,
it's
I
kinda
don't know
like
what
that.
you're talking
Okay, guys,
about.
let's get
whatever.
into it. We're on a time crunch here, and we've got 5 movies to talk about.
Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna start with the identity fraud of it all.
Yes, because they live forever. Vampires, as you may know, they do two things. They sparkle in the sun and
they
live forever. Yes, those
Stephanie Meyer, I will never forgive
those
you
are the
for
two
that.
main qualities of
He's
a vampire.
beautiful.
You live forever, you sparkle in the sun.
That's it.
Shine
Everybody
bright
knows
like
that.
a diamond.
Yes.
1,000%. Now, to be fair, in the books, the way that Stephanie Meyer describes it is that it's like blinding. Like he gets into the sun, and there's no mistaking that he is some sort of supernatural being.
Right.
And then we
in
get
the
to
movie, it's like toned down. It's like they kind of have like body glitter on.
The movie,
Kind of like us, Diana.
Yeah,
We have some body
I put
glitter
a
on.
little bit.
I remember watching it in the movies with my friend, and I remember we turned to each other and we were like,
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That it?
But yeah, so the fact that they can live forever, the immortality of it all, kind of, brings up a lot of legal issues.
Of course.
There's the educational portion, like their education.
Yeah.
They've
and-
Where
repeated
basically
high
they
school.
know all the answers because
and
they've lived it.
Yeah, they're taking I think at one point he says he took like high school biology 47 times.
Right.
Like that academic advantage and then also the career advantage.
Yes.
The fact that, the financial advantage that comes with that. Like, it's said that the dad, like Carlisle, like he's accumulated such an amount of wealth because
Of course he has.
you have lived for hundreds of years.
So you know all the stuff. You know what's going to happen. You know the right things to do and invest in. And what I was mentioning to you guys, it's the same idea like what happened in Back to the Future when Biff stole the almanac and was able to make all the bets because he knew who was going to win and he became a gazillionaire because of it.
And but also, and we're going to talk about this in our next theme of topics, but Alice can predict the future.
Right. So we'll talk about that. But
Yes.
this one is like, it's not so much that like, it's not the fact that they live forever, besides Alice's power, doesn't mean that they can predict the future, but they have lived the past. So it does give you an advantage of anticipating what comes next. But really, it's also that you've just like the investments, like you have had investments for hundreds of years.
so
The real
long,
estate.
I know.
You can buy a house for $1 and then just let it sit there
Could you
and then
imagine
sell that house
a
100 years later.
Trust in perpetuity
Right.
for their lifetime.
I was thinking about
The
that.
estate planning attorney had to have done a killer job.
I mean, look at the house that they're living in.
I mean,
That's a multi-million-dollar house. But also it's that famous scene, right, where he's taking her up the stairs, he's giving her a tour of the house, and it's the scene with all the graduation caps.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like hundreds of them.
yeah, that was
'Cause they
actually
just-
really interesting.
They move from place to place and they just keep repeating high school over and
is
over.
is that just unfair advantage or an illegal advantage? The fact that you are academically competing against other 17-year-olds in your class, like no one else has the chance to be top of their class or valedictorian when
But
these
also-
people have taken biology 47 times.
But I also think they make an effort to not stand out. So
Right.
even though they know it and they do that
They
stuff,
try to,
they're trying to keep a
pretend that
low
they don't know
profile and they're not trying to be top of the class. They're not aiming to go to college. They don't need to do any of that stuff. So although they have that ability, they're not really using it.
No, they just go from place to place and they
So
create
about
fake
that,
identities.
How do you feel about that?
About
Would
what?
you take the trade-off of living forever knowing that every 4 years after graduation, you need to pick up and go to another
But
place?
it's not even every 4 years because they're showing up in their current 17-year-old bodies, right?
But they don't have to leave right after graduation. They can be college students or like just taking gap years and not knowing if they want to go to
guess.
college. So they don't have to leave as soon as graduation happens.
True. And
Yes.
honestly, they want to sit there and tell me that those actors and actresses are supposed to look like 17. They
No.
do not look
No.
like 17.
It's like 90210.
No 17-year-olds I've seen.
Absolutely not.
Neither did Marty McFly.
Oh my God, that's right.
True.
That's
True,
right.
true, true.
I mean, that happens all the time. But so, there are people in college who look much older or much younger, and you look at these photos.
I feel like they probably should have just gone straight to college. They should have skipped the high school part of it all.
Because colleges are
college.
bigger, and so you can kind of, you can kind of get lost in the crowd
Yeah.
easier. And in high school, you do stick out. Like,
Why do you think no one raised an eyebrow at all at the fact that they were coupled up?
Well, they say
only-
something about it.
yeah,
about how
'cause
they're
it's
all
weird.
coupled up.
siblings.
Right.
That's weird.
It's
Yes.
weird.
Well, they're adopted siblings. Everybody knows that. What's the name of the chick who then became Anna?
Raza.
No, the girl who
Oh, you're talking about Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. Thank you
yeah,
so
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
When she's introducing Bella
Bella
to
to
the world
them.
of Forbes,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
she's like, "That's the Cullen family. They're all adopted, but they're all also paired off." Like they clearly think it's weird, but like, why?
But I guess if they're adopted, then it's like whatever. You know.
I know, but the story could have been so much different. Like
I think if you took them out of high school and put them in college, they can get lost in the crowd. You don't have to finish college in 4 years. You could be working on, research. Like I know people who took 6 or 7 years to get through college.
But also,
You're
why
right.
do you
It would have been a better placement in college.
Right,
You're
high school is so regimented, and it's such a small environment.
Why do you
put them in like
Forks?
put them in like I don't know, Penn State. Like now you're amongst tens of thousands of people.
True.
They have to live somewhere where it's not always sunny.
Right. Okay, but Washington, like it's state.
So
like,
why not go
whatever.
to Seattle? Why are they in the tiny little bumblefuck Forks? Ooh, sorry, Forks is a real place. So sorry.
And people go there. It's a thing.
yeah, 1,000%.
They
have
stick
tours.
out like a sore thumb.
Okay.
Yes,
and they
why
could
couldn't
be
you
on a
go to-
huge college campus somewhere in Washington State with the same overcast, and like that would have probably been a better choice for them.
Right.
Here, they have to continuously that's the other question. They always have to be somewhere where there's not a lot of sunlight.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they just finding other like high schools in that area? Like, or is there somewhere else in the country they can go? If you're in high school and you graduate, and then you have to a few years later re-enter high school, you're just sticking to the same like
I know.
area.
And then there's always all these loopholes because in New Moon when when Edward leaves, we see a scene of him in Brazil. What are you doing in Brazil? It's not rainy in Brazil.
Oh, it's so sunny.
Why are you there? Why are you hiding out there? Aren't you sparkly there? Isn't
Right.
your face sparkly?
But the
Go to,
Brazil
like, Siberia.
rainforest is rainy, you guys.
But he's not living in the rainforest. There's literally a shot of him in
Yeah, he's,
front
like,
of
out
the
in
front
like-
of the big Jesus. There's like the big
mean,
Jesus in the background.
That
That's
was
how
just
we know
to
he's
tell
in
us.
Brazil.
That was just to tell us idiots where he was.
Right.
I know, but I'm saying like he could have easily been, like you said, in
Like,
the Siberian tundra.
Yeah, exactly. Or go to Iceland or somewhere where like it's like dark, like like I don't know. And then also this also brings up like the legal issues of like they constantly have to fabricate student records, medical
IDs.
records, social security numbers, like driver's licenses, like employment records. Like
They have a now I can't think of the word.
Oh.
But the guy who makes the fake documents, they have him on speed
forger?
dial. Whatever you want to call
yeah,
him.
I guess like counterfeiter.
Counterfeiter. That's
Yeah.
what I wanted to say. They've got him on speed dial.
Yeah.
And
They
they've
always need new
they've
identities,
got,
new
like,
names.
Boxes full of identities.
Yes.
you know?
Right. And that comes with it like social security numbers. Like you need like government IDs and
And I guess they're keeping them all at the age that they were when Carlisle turned them.
right, but they didn't have to.
They didn't have to.
Like you could just be a young looking like 20-something-year-old. Like
Yeah, sure.
I am married to a very young looking 40-something-year-old who I think could pass for early 30s,
Oh, I think he could. Yeah.
That's going to bring us to the other part of it.
could be a
I don't want
vampire,
to.
though.
I don't want to jump around. What'd you say?
He could be a vampire.
could be a vampire.
So lucky.
I would be so lucky.
You would.
He is kind of pale. So, like, I don't know.
It brings us to the fact that Carlisle is the one who put all of this in place. He turned every single one of them and established this sort of like fraudulent ring of people, of fraudsters, of vampires. I don't know. It's his.
He created his own family.
He has created his own family.
Which, if you think about it in an emotional way, it gets awfully lonely being an immortal after all those years.
1,000%.
So having other people to pal around with is not necessarily a bad thing.
I
Right.
hear
But it
you.
also puts him in direct path of the Volturi, who don't like the fact that
He's creating his own covenant.
Carlisle has created his own little faction, so to speak.
Yes. But not only that, he was a doctor before he turned. And he then
stays a doctor.
But he
and
don't you
stays
have
a
to like
doctor.
re-up your like medical license. Aren't there like I mean I don't know. I know for like legal practice you have
yeah,
to keep that up.
he does. He would have to do that. So
And how are we doing that? Is he going to
I don't think he can
medical
I don't think he
school?
can be Carlisle Cullen for the entire time. He's got to
He's
have.
got to change his name every time?
Yeah, I think
yeah.
you have to like you'd have to reapply
After a
to like
certain-
different like hospitals
Yeah.
and like
Under a
different
different
jobs
name.
under a different name with a whole different like background of like
With a whole different diploma.
degrees and like whatever else you need to do.
Right. So like assuming he leaves, let's assume they leave Forks and go, wherever else they go to the next rainy destination. Let's say the
Knives.
entire. What'd he say?
he said knives.
Knives. They
Like
leave
forks,
forks, they go to
knives. I love that. That's great. That's
I
perfect.
was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
That's a great dad joke, Josh.
I love that.
You couldn't think of a name.
Spoons.
I was
Knives,
here for
Oregon.
it.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Let's say the events of Twilight
Yep.
do not occur. Let's say they move on to their next destination post high school graduation.
Vancouver, let's say.
And they go to Vancouver/Knives, Canada.
Right.
Okay? And he can't go in as Carlisle Cullen. He has to go in as somebody else. So
Well, maybe he
all
could.
changing their
That's
names?
Canada. It's a whole other country.
Okay, but they have they have access to like U.S. records too. Like,
But can he just fabricate himself
can.
back to being younger again?
But then there's a record of him having worked as Carlisle Cullen at the Forks Hospital.
like there's got to be a record. Like you go online, you can find out like every attorney's registration number,
Yeah,
sure.
or like where they're admitted. Let's say, like certainly there's something like that for the medical community as well,
there's gotta be.
especially for the employer. I don't know if the public can access it, but we can. But like maybe I'm sure a hospital can access that when they're hiring a doctor.
No, he's for sure doing shady shit. Every
Right,
time he
and so
moves
like
from place
that's
to
fraud,
place.
right? Like that's document fraud. That's there's actual like they're committing a lot of
Fraud.
basically tax violations.
Tax violation, sure.
Tax violations.
So you were saying something before that they're not stealing someone's identity.
not
They're just
identity
making
theft.
it
They're
up.
not.
But
They're
it's still-
fabricating an identity.
Yeah, it's still fraud. Yes, he went to medical school, but he went to medical school 100 years ago.
I still feel like stealing someone else's identity is worse
worse?
than making up an identity.
well,
I get that it's a fine line, but I still think it's one is
but
slightly
hold on.
worse.
You can liken it to someone who pretends to be a lawyer. They're not stealing someone's identity,
Okay.
but they are.
But I will say this, Carlisle's not
Pretending.
pretending to be a doctor. He is a doctor.
has he kept up with his continuing education?
But I would think
classes?
he has because he's lived through it and continued to practice
Yeah.
as a doctor. And by the way, how about the irony of a vampire being around all that blood?
yeah, let's talk about that.
Is
How do
too.
you feel about the
Is it-
liability issues of that?
Is it ironic or is it a conflict of interest? And by
Well-
the way, so he's already fully turned when he turns his entire little faction, his entire little family. And he turns them when they are his dying patients.
Yeah.
Certainly Edward.
without consent?
Of
Obviously.
course.
There's
Not
no-
only without consent, at least Edward is a minor.
Yes.
Edward is turned at the age of 17.
Right.
When he's dying from the Spanish flu.
right.
When Carlisle is supposed to
In
be treating
Chicago.
him. Right. When Carlisle is supposed to be treating him.
Right.
Is that part of the Hippocratic Oath?
No, absolutely.
Hang on.
Also,
I would argue that makes him one of the best doctors in the world.
That he didn't let him
They
die.
brought him
He-
back
he-
from the brink of
If they
death.
want that,
He
if they
keeps
want
his.
that.
but do they want immortality?
They didn't sign a DNR.
I
was
guess.
17.
I don't
He
know
could
that
have
there
signed
was
a
a
DNR.
DNR in 1918.
Did
But
Edward-
also he was a minor.
Did Edward have parents? Like he's like
I
they
think
didn't sign
I
off.
think everybody died.
Yeah.
Everybody died from the Spanish
The
flu.
that's just how it
implication
works.
is that everyone's dead.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But so Carlisle makes the decision that he's going to play God.
Right.
And he's going
Yeah.
to turn all of these
But,
people
like,
and
that-
he's going to make them live forever
He's
because
not just saving
I
them;
want a
he's
buddy.
forcing immortality on them, which is
Yes.
such like we talked about this with like Groundhog's Day. Like, what comes with that? Like, it's not necessarily a gift. A lot of people could see that as a curse. And
Yeah.
they do. It like a lot of them.
A
do
lot of
see
them
it
do.
in these movies. Like different characters grapple with different aspects.
Rosalie.
Of that. Rosalie, the fact that
Yeah.
like by turning her, she was never able to
have
have
kids.
kids.
And so when she finds out that Bella
Because your body
wants-
stops, actually like
While being alive.
being alive.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you cannot carry a child. Right.
Right.
when she finds out that Bella wants Edward to turn her, she gets very mad at
Yeah.
Bella. Because she says, you have a choice. Why
Yeah.
would you choose this? So the fact that Carlisle makes this decision on behalf of a minor, by the way, violates a whole bunch of Volturi laws that we'll talk about
And
also.
HIPAA.
And HIPAA.
I don't know about HIPAA, but the Hippocratic Oath certainly.
Yeah, you have
But
to
also,
do right.
look,
you,
and
you
even
need
though-
consent for certain things.
Is it like euthanasia?
I mean, no.
You're, like, helping
You're not,
someone?
because if he's dying, it's like, you're not.
I don't know.
No, he's
It's
not.
actually
no,
the
he's not
opposite.
helping.
The opposite.
Yeah, the opposite. Whatever the opposite of
You made
euthanasia
my brain
is.
stop for a minute there. It's like the opposite of euthanasia.
Yeah, I feel like it's the opposite of euthanasia, right? And then we don't have a word for that.
I don't know. I mean, everybody thinks that
The opposite of euthanasia.
living is,
Living, I
but
guess.
everybody thinks living is always better than dying.
Yeah.
Is it
But not
always?
if you're living
I mean,
forever.
right. And so,
But again, not if you're living forever as
Because we see the time loop movies and books, they all just want to die at some point.
Oh, yeah.
They'd rather die than
Okay,
continue.
wait.
Again, she
so-
doesn't live as a human. She can no longer. She's just a vampire who never
she
ages.
can't eat real
She
food.
can't eat real food. She doesn't sleep.
She doesn't
She
sleep.
can't have
Yeah,
children.
Right.
So
What were you gonna ask?
inform the ignorant. Can a vampire never die whatsoever?
They can.
No, they can.
Their heads have to be ripped off, and then all of their limbs, and then they have to be burned. Obviously.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Of course.
Always.
Everyone knows that.
Of course. Everybody.
So
That's
then
just
you
science.
give them a choice. I saved your life. Now I can kill you if you want.
No, because then now you're straight up murdering them.
Not really.
the
They're dead
Spanish-
already.
Before the
Technically, they're dead already.
Right. What happens if you kill a vampire?
Nothing.
Nothing, because they're dead, right?
And no one fucking believes
Double
you.
jeopardy.
Or is it desecration of a corpse?
Could be.
Could be.
Could be. They
If
desecrate.
you have a really tough prosecutor, it could be.
I would take that case. I like that. I would argue that it's desecration of a corpse.
Okay.
I
yeah.
can't just take a corpse and start
I can
cutting
see
limbs
that.
off. That's what I'd be charged
That's what
with.
they do to the bad vampire at the end of the first one.
I know.
To what's his name? James.
Yep.
Right? They tear off his head and they chop him up into pieces. They tear off his limbs
Anyway.
and
And
they
they burn
throw him
him.
in the fire.
That's the only way to do it. It's not as easy as like zombies where you just like shoot it in the head
Well,
once
look,
and you're
this
done.
isn't Stephanie Meyer's world. There's other ways to kill a vampire, and all of the
Right, and
hundreds
other
of
ones it's
history
like
of
it's like a
vampire lore.
steak or
there's the
like
steak, there's the
sunlight.
there's the holy water,
Sunlight,
there's
that's
sunlight.
like, you know.
But no, these people they don't get killed by sunlight; they sparkle.
Right.
That will forever piss me off.
I love it so much. I love that it pisses off my husband too. He hates when I mention it.
Because
To
you're
be fair.
turning a vampire who is a lethal killing machine into a frou-frou, sparkly fairy.
To be fair,
they're-
Stephanie Meyer has said, Stephanie Meyer has gone on the record to say that there's a reason that she made this world so PG, so to speak. She had her own religious beliefs and she infused them into the writing. And there was a reason that all of these books were very PG and that we didn't get all of the like craziness from the other stuff.
It's the cozy version of
It's the cozy
If
version.
you want the non-cozy, if you
You're
want the
gonna go to
non-PG
50 Shades of
50
Grey.
Shades of Grey, which, as everyone must know, is
Josh, pay attention.
fan fiction.
No thanks.
Twilight fanfic that eventually became its own book series.
Correct,
That's
right.
That's where 50 Shades of Grey came from.
Because the author
all
of
the pent-up Mormonism we just came
because the author
what's
of
her-
E.L. James,
E.L.
because
James.
the author of 50 Shades of Grey was like, listen, love this so
Where's
much.
the sex?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why
Started
it's
her own
set.
fanfic.
That's why it's set in Seattle. That's why he's like a rich stalker.
And she's kind of like a whatever dowdy like little
Speaking
like
of stalkers,
yes.
Oh, let's-
is
okay.
Edward a stalker?
yes. So let's talk.
I love it.
I feel like by the end of this, we're not going to be Team Edward.
I know. So you know what? I think we'll get to
He's
that in
a
a second.
creepy
We're gonna get
McCreepster.
into like the Bella and Edward of it all
Yeah.
in a second. But like just to close out, just like the idea, like the legalities of being a vampire, like also like turning someone. Obviously, I think there's an argument to be made that it's like lacks consent, informed consent for sure. And that, you know, he could be prosecuted. Like Carlisle could be prosecuted. Anyone who turns someone against without their like request or consent.
Which is the opposite of what Bella did because she lobbied
She wanted
to
it.
become a vampire.
But like for anyone else, I think that there is an argument to be made that he could be prosecuted, or you know. But then there's also the fact that if you are a vampire, you survive by drinking blood.
True.
And now the question becomes like,
Well, there's
okay,
a moral dilemma that's
you-
created.
a
for
vampire
sure.
needs blood to survive,
And the traditionalists believe that drinking from humans is the way to go. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's how they survive. They're very careful about it, though.
Does being a vampire constitute a legal defense to murder because human blood is biologically necessary for their survival?
I would argue yes. If you were going to try and,
Oh, you
I
say
would.
there's a
I
legal
would
ahead.
argue that there
Defense.
is a defense to it because it is biologically necessary for them to have human blood.
And would the counter argument be there are alternatives? There's animal blood.
That would
there's
be-
blood banks.
That would be the alternative, but we know it's not the same. So
Blood banks would be, but that would
No,
constitute
but
blood
even-
banks would be, but that's still
That's
human
theft.
blood.
Even blood banks aren't the same because they get like a shoot of like a shot of energy when they like suck the blood out. No, they get like a high.
But I think there's an argument that like,
Oh,
you
well,
can,
yeah,
you
but
can
that was
give
because
them
of
give them a tight straw, like
Because
whatever.
no, but that's like but that's like the life spirit, the emotions,
I
like
guess.
there's an
But
extra
you
kick
can still
to it.
survive. You can still survive.
You
It
could
might
still
not be the
survive
best.
because the Cullens do survive.
Right, and
they survive
they're
hunting animals.
They're vegetarian.
so
and
the
that's their
argument
choice.
would be like, okay, maybe
But they're
it's
not really
optimal to just
vegetarians because they
eat
they
meat,
suck.
but in their world, it's a vegetarian
Deers.
because they're eating like they're drinking blood
and
from
that's
animals.
why their eyes are actually nice and brown versus
Red.
red.
I know. But so the counter argument to the argument you've made is
Mm-hmm.
that there are alternatives and maybe they are subpar, but they will keep you alive, that you can survive off of them. And so because you're not taking those measures, you are criminally liable.
So let me ask you this. If someone is going around as a vampire and being a vigilante and only killing the, quote, bad people, the criminals, this, the that, getting them off the street,
murder.
doing vigilantism basically, and only attacking the people that commit crimes and hurt other people, are you less offended by that?
I mean, morally, sure, but that's a moral question because morally, I think we can all agree that yeah, obviously that makes it better. But like being a vigilante, like you're still committing murder under the eyes of the law.
Isn't it the same as Dexter?
Yes.
Dexter was killing bad people.
There you go.
But you still would be convicted of murder.
And everyone loves Dexter.
Right.
I rest
you could
my
be
case.
beloved. You could be beloved and still be convicted of murder.
Interesting timing. Yes. Okay, guys, interesting timing because Luigi Mangione pled guilty
just today.
Oh wait, I didn't see that.
Yes. He pled guilty to
stalking
stalking with intent to kill.
With intent to kill. He didn't
So
plead
he's
guilty
still not to murder. No, but stalking with intent to kill, which is still a federal crime, which would still probably get him life in prison anyway.
Sure.
But he did plead guilty today, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Because he kind of became a quasi-hero celebrity.
Even though it's not
that's
really like
different.
vigilante, like it's not
Dexter
like
wasn't doing that. Dexter was killing like pedophiles.
right.
Right?
Right. And like
I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting scenario and how people perceive
abusers and things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah. And
Right.
so
he has
it
a whole
does,
fan base. I mean, he's hot. So like whatever. But like
whatever.
you know, he could be a vampire.
Look, he could. I don't know,
visually.
whatever. But so,
like
it's interesting.
It is interesting.
And like I was mentioning to I think Jenny before about how look, I mean, laws are created by society, by people. So it's just because we decided that
This
that
is
was going
okay
to be
and this is not
illegal
okay.
and what's okay and what's not okay. So what if society
Decides that
changed the
vampires
rules?
are now okay.
Yeah, or whatever.
Or that-
decides that killing
vigilante
bad,
shit is a
killing
defense
bad people
to murder.
is a defense and it's fine and we're gonna like take it easy. on
Right.
you
It's just that we
because-
decided that it was not okay. And you know what? Society used to be like that. It used to be that somebody would just decide they had good enough reason.
what they called like in the West, like vigilante justice.
Right,
it was
right.
out in the Wild
Also,
West.
you could challenge someone to a duel.
You could.
That is how Alexander Hamilton
I mean, you could also
passed away. That's
yeah.
how we lost him.
Rulers would just issue like death warrants.
Thanks, Iron
You
Bro.
know? Like, I mean, if you could issue a death warrant, just like there was no checks and balances, there was no like criminal justice system. It was just a ruler signing a death warrant and be like, all right, well, that guy gets to die because I said so because I thought that good enough reason. But like, we're not there yet in today's law. Regardless of whether, like,
We're not there yet.
we're not there
yet.
yet. But, well, you know, history repeats itself.
Who knows?
But right now, I think you would still be
Well, hey, I
convicted of murder.
Look, there's a lot of this stuff that goes on in the movies. Like you got The Purge.
I was literally
right?
just
when you're
thinking
not
of The
thinking of The
Purge.
Purge,
I
right?
was
Like
1000%
one day
thinking of
we
The
all get to commit crimes. Like that could happen at some point.
I was 1000% thinking of the
I
purge.
actually don't find that so far fetched at all.
That the purge might happen one
Yeah.
day.
Yep.
Okay.
Get strapped, everyone.
I'm telling
But
you. That's why I'm going to
right.
start taking kickboxing classes and shit.
that'll probably help. But yeah, I think that you would be convicted of murder, even if
Under today's laws.
under today's laws, and because there's an alternative for your survival, even if it's subpar.
I could see that
I think
point.
that's the reason. And I think with regard to like animal cruelty, the fact that they're killing animals, and I mean, is that really any different than like if they're in an area where you're allowed to hunt deer?
Well, like here,
then you're
or
allowed
even
to
in New
eat-
Jersey with the bear hunt
Right.
and then the deer thing, and that was like a big issue here. But they do allow it for population control. It's really no different.
Right.
Well, maybe it's just certain months of the year you're allowed to kill humans.
Josh, you know what? We're going to turn your
what
microphone
months
off.
Josh, what
love
months would those be? What are you thinking?
Oh, January, obviously. That's like the sad month. That's a sad month. It's
I'm
a
not
boring
sad
month.
month.
I'm out of town that month.
Everyone knows that January is a boring month. That would be the month for it.
we're gonna
But
turn-
yes,
we're gonna turn
I
off
think
his
that
mic.
drinking animal blood, obviously, you're not going. It's not a murder, and if you're in an area where you are legally allowed to hunt certain animals, I would assume that like they wouldn't really get in trouble for killing animals with their teeth instead of a rifle.
Okay.
And then I don't know.
Right. They don't have hunting licenses.
Right.
I was.
Or if they do, they're fake.
We were talking about. We had been talking about animal cruelty as like a theme before we started recording, but I was thinking more along the lines of like the werewolves of it all. Like, I don't know how are
How are they being
Werewolves aren't-
cruel to the
what do you mean?
werewolves?
They're not turned.
No.
They're born with
They're
that.
born.
That's a genetic thing. Everyone knows that.
Maybe she's born
Everybody
with it.
knows
She's a
that.
werewolf.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's a werewolf. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah, exactly. That's.
I mean, that would explain why I got so much hair.
Oh my god.
Elizabeth, cut that out, Josh.
But yeah, like I think. Well, here's another question. Let's say you're looking to turn someone, right? And you can turn someone by just sucking their blood and not going overboard, such that you would kill them.
Right.
Yes.
What if someone asks you to turn them, gives you
A la
consent,
Bella.
and then you negligently
Go too far.
go too far and they end up dying when you trying just to turn them? Like, what?
Well, isn't that part of what Edward is afraid of? Edward is afraid of turning her because he says, I don't know that
I
I
can
have
control
enough
myself,
control to not just all the way kill you.
Well, that's why it should have been somebody else who.
But she says, no, I specifically want it to be you because I love you so
She's
very
so
much.
annoying, though. You're so annoying.
She says, I specifically want it to be you, 17-year-old.
Ugh. I guess, and if he has given her his warning, and she decides to disregard that warning and say no, it has to be you, you are assuming the risk as if you're Bella, right?
I don't know.
Legally, I have no idea.
I don't know what
She is, but
I'm
she
trying
trusts
to-
No precedent case law for this one.
I was gonna say I'm trying to think of some sort of real world analogy. I'm just not sure. Like some sort of doctor patient setup.
I
but
mean,
go
it
ahead.
wouldn't even be a contract. It would have to be a blood oath.
Oh my god! But I like this. I like that a lot.
Turn off your own
This,
mic.
No, I
this
like
version
it.
of Josh is really killing me
you're
right
on
now.
I'm taking
fire.
a step way back.
I love it. No. I like it. I'm for it. Okay, so now let's move on to the Volturi and the fact that there's an entire extra legal government.
There is.
overseeing.
Yes.
And they are the supreme judicial and executive branch of the entire race.
and the legislative.
All of it.
All
They are
of
the
it.
police, the prosecutors, the judges, the executioners, the,
jury.
lawmakers.
They
create their own laws. and
They
you have to follow
offer
them.
no trials, no second chances,
No.
and all of their sentencing carries a mandatory sentence of
death.
Death.
There's no due process. This is a clear violation
None.
of due process.
It is.
No, and
They don't give a shit about due process.
No.
They don't care about our Constitution at all. Well, first of all, let's also point out they are not in America.
No, they're in Italy.
They're in Italy.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry.
Does Italy know that this is happening
My
under
fellow
their noses?
Italians, they don't, because law number one, secrecy at all times. No one can know about the
Fight Club.
vampires. Correct. We don't talk about it.
What's Fight Club?
We don't know it.
But also,
See, I follow the rules. You guys just talked about it.
but that's a good point. But there's also they don't have jurisdiction. They're not.
Who, Volturi or Italy? The Italian
They're
government?
not in America. They should only be able to govern the vampires in their own jurisdiction.
No. They are the supreme leaders of all
I know.
of the
But
vampires
I would argue.
everywhere.
You're arguing that they only have jurisdiction over the Italian vampires.
Yeah. I would try to apply long arm statute to this. What? International shoe.
They do have long arm statues because they have compiled for themselves all of the gifted vampires who
Yes.
basically can cause harm to everyone and gotten them on their side, so they think. But
They
that's
have-
why
they
they
have
covet.
creepy Dakota
That's why they
Fanning.
covet Alice and Edward so much in particular. But
right.
they have these powerful vampires on their side. Who's going up against them?
Nobody. But
In fact, not even the Cullens want to technically go up against them.
no, they don't want to.
No. So,
Yeah,
okay.
I like it. It's like
fine.
having the
It's
mob.
like the mob.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Having control in New York City
that
and
was
in
a little
Italy.
too easy because they're Italian, but fine, whatever.
I don't think Diana and I are equipped to handle a conversation about the mob. I think that's all you, girl.
I got you.
I don't
got
think
you.
I don't think we want to venture into
No,
that area.
no, ours is different.
Second biggest rule of the Volturi. What do we not do?
Talk about the Volturi.
No, that was number one, Jenny. That was number one. Number two, we do not make.
Baseball.
Children into vampires.
Thank you. No vampire
Do
children.
not make babies.
And why? Because they're little crazy monsters that can't be controlled.
can't be controlled.
Much like human children.
Right. It's not a moral thing. They're not.
right.
They're not coming from a moral standpoint.
No, absolutely not. It's because
No, it's because they can't control the little fuckers. And they
right, because the idea is that when you are turned, you are hungry and thirsty, and
you have no
are-
self-control.
Correct.
And so they're
You're gonna
we
wreak
will
havoc.
absolutely be exposed.
Right.
So no vampire kids.
No vampire kids, which brings us to...
Let's. You want to go there now?
Well, I want to talk about Edward first.
Let's talk about Bella and Edward's relationship. Let's just do this.
Okay.
Actually, before we turn to that, let's talk about this because you've already mentioned that they really covet Edward and
Alice's powers.
Alice because of their special powers. So let's talk about the special powers.
Yes, not all vampires get
Every
special
vampire,
powers.
like I said, they're immortal.
They're very strong.
They're very strong.
They're very horny.
They're horny. They're beautiful. They're more powerful. They're faster.
would you not want to?
They're faster, and they sparkle in the sun. That is what all of them have in common is those qualities. However, some, not all, have extra special powers.
Yep.
And for Edward, it is that he can read minds. For Alice, it's that she can predict the future, not exact.
Can see the future.
She sees the future, but not. It's not perfect.
Kind of
it's
like,
fuzzy.
She's kind of like the seer in Greek mythology.
Yes.
But she
The
says
oracle.
Yes.
she
The one who
herself
can-
she herself admits that it's fuzzy and that when you do something different, my vision will now automatically change. Like whatever you do, it will change the vision. So she's
very
says it's not
similar
set
to
in
one
stone.
of the other head Volturi guy, who also has the ability, but has to touch you to see.
Yes, he's creepy
She
as
doesn't need that, but he has to
Which
actually.
one was that?
Aro.
Oh, Aro, yeah.
He can also see
That's
things.
Michael Sheen.
Yeah,
who I
yeah.
adore. I adore him.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, no,
he was
he's
he was creepy
he
as
was
fuck.
excellent.
He's excellent in everything that he's in.
Yeah.
He's like one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And Dakota Fanning was excellent in this.
She was too.
Dakota Fanning,
also creepy.
I'm a
I also,
big
by the
fan.
way, he's barely in this, but I really love Jamie Campbell Bower. Like I just think he's
Who was he?
He was the young Volturi,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Her brother?
The-
He's in
no,
Stranger
no.
Things.
No. He was the
Blonde.
the blonde one. He was the younger one. I can't think of his name.
yes. I do know who you're talking about.
I don't remember his name in it.
Actually, his hair
Doesn't
looks
matter.
so fake.
But I really
So
adore
fake.
him.
He looked like a cherub.
No, but that's his real hair, I think.
That's okay. It's okay.
I love him.
It's okay, but that's probably part of it. The vampires.
Volturi are
beautiful.
very good looking.
Yeah.
They like lure you in.
Oh, and then
Not the creepy tall one.
No, he was very creepy.
Yeah, I didn't like him so
But
much.
I will say
Dimitri or
also there's aside from those two powers, there's also Jasper is able to kind of like sway people's emotions.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, but he always looks constipated when
I
he
know,
does
but
it.
I don't care. But it's all right because it's still power, and that brings
Well,
up,
in Dakota Fanning, though, we didn't mention what she does. She causes pain.
Oh, I know.
Which is
She's their-
fucked up.
She's their
loved it.
enforcer. She's
Yeah.
the Volturi's
and I love it because
enforcer.
she's like this tiny little petite blonde girl. But so
Do we foreshadow now to Bella's power?
well, when
It's
but-
theoretically a passive
well, let's
power.
talk about
but-
the legality of these at least, like touching upon the fact Edward can read minds, right? So
Yeah.
like it's not just that he can overhear the thoughts, he can like access people's internal thoughts without their consent. And so, does a person have a legally protected privacy interest in thoughts that that they've never expressed out loud? And if so, then he is violating that.
Of course.
Like, there's kind of like a mental privacy, neural privacy issue there. And I don't know if he can turn it off or control that ability, but if there is,
I think he could.
then I think
I don't think he's
then I think
automatically
because
hearing.
other's he would hear everyone's
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
The fact that he can
Well, and
go up
part
to
of what
someone
he-
and feel like,
Yeah.
I know what your inner thoughts are. I
Yeah.
think
It's-
if he's
it's-
not controlling it,
Yeah.
then I would say like
It is
that's
an invasion of privacy.
Well,
I
remember
agree.
that scene where he tells Bella when they're sitting at the restaurant and she orders the ravioli? God, how many times have I seen this movie? And they're sitting in the restaurant and he says, I know what every single person here is thinking. That guy's thinking about his cat. This one's thinking about this. This one's thinking about that. Like he can read everybody's minds. It's a huge except her.
her.
But it's a huge invasion of privacy.
Which is an interesting foreshadowing and part of what intrigues him about her
Well-
because he can't get into her mind.
the issue with these powers, the way that they describe them, is that when you get a power, it sort of amplifies whatever talent you had as a human.
so he might have been intuitive.
He might have been intuitive, and so now it's amplified as this ability to read minds. And Alice also, I guess, and Jasper was good at kind of calming people
pacifying,
down
yeah.
or whatever. And so now he's able to control people's emotions. And so Bella is able to block him out. She's able to block him out from her mind without even knowing that she's
She
doing
doesn't
it.
even know. She's the only person he's ever encountered where he cannot read her mind at all.
And so, spoiler alert: when she in fact turns and becomes a vampire, guys, she becomes a vampire.
Yeah.
Her powers are that she can shield.
She can create a shield around people.
She's
Other
She's got a
powers.
defensive power. She can block other vampires' powers.
She can block Jane and her
And originally,
nonsense.
it
And then
started
when Arrow
out that,
touches her,
but
he doesn't
originally
see.
it started just for her.
Yes.
And she had to practice to get better at.
Of course she
You have to, it's like any muscle.
Like anything. You have to
gotta
practice
work
to throw up a big ass shield around the whole group.
expect that you have to work at this. Of course,
true.
nothing just comes easy.
You know, practice makes perfect. So
I can't believe we're having this.
No, I think it's great.
To be honest
And then
with
Alice
you.
seeing the future brings up a lot of other.
I think Alice seeing the future
Is probably
so problematic.
There's so many legal issues there because, I mean, first of all, like we touched upon before, like you have the ability, like Biff in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
You have an unfair advantage. You can win the lottery. You can
Yeah.
place sports bets or stock market, trading, insider trading. Like that would constitute insider trading. She can never, like, put any bets on anything, or else, like,
well, not legally and morally.
well,
Probably,
yeah, but I think we're supposed to just look at it from a legal standpoint.
That's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing here.
But Alice's ability to see the future is what causes the entire thing to happen in New Moon, where she sees Bella jump off of the cliff because Bella decides she needs a thrill, and so she's going to go cliff diving. Alice thinks that she is killing herself, and because I guess she's so deep underwater, Alice no longer sees her
and thinks that she's killed herself.
and thinks that she's killed herself.
In the future.
Edward reads Alice's mind.
And that part's important because it's not Alice saying, "Hey, Edward, I just saw Bella and she like in my mind and she's going to kill
Right.
herself."
Hang on.
Edward reads it.
I thought they can't die.
Bella
No,
was still
Bella's
human.
human
Oh,
still
sorry.
at that
Josh,
point.
you gotta keep up.
I'm trying.
Bella can
I'm
still
trying.
be killed by conventional means.
Yes.
And so
Right.
And,
So
yes.
Alice thinks that
Come
she's
on
committed.
board.
cliff diving being one of them.
Alice thinks that she's committed suicide. Edward reads her mind. Allison. Why do I keep saying Allison? I'm so sorry to the Allison I know.
Yeah.
Alice didn't say it.
Alice doesn't say
And
it.
because Alice recognizes, and you hear in the movie, that her visions are not
And she
always
has warned, like the people around her know
accurate because things change.
but wait, we forgot about this. She also says that the visions get blocked when she's around werewolves.
Yes.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
because
And she
Bella
was around werewolves.
because Bella
Fucking
was
Jacob.
because Bella was with Jacob, Alice then can't see the proper vision.
Why does it
Five
smell
Klinger.
like wet dog in here?
I know, yeah.
Alice then can't see that Bella, in fact, gets out of the water and she's fine. Edward thinks that the love of his life is dead. Can't possibly exist in a world
But
where
hey,
there's no
hey,
Bella.
after he dumped her ass, doesn't go back to check if
No,
she's
he
okay.
just- no, he just goes-
he's
But
just like, I'm
Let's
just
get into
gonna kill
so
myself.
because he sees that vision
Yes.
and understands that that's what's happening,
Yeah.
and he thinks that she's going to kill herself.
Yeah.
What happens then? What the
He
chain of
goes to
events?
violate Volturi rule
Right.
number 1 and expose himself in the public
town square.
You're not allowed to do.
in Italia.
In Volterra.
Yeah, and no, we don't do this. And he's counting on the Volturi to take his life for doing that.
Yeah, because he wants to be like at this point.
That's
The only
my
way for him to
favorite
commit
scene.
suicide. This is the only way for him to commit suicide. And now
And then we've got them running through the square.
No.
No,
She's running through the
Edward,
square and she
no.
jumps into the fountain and like he steps out into the sunlight, but it has to be at exactly noon because that's where the sun is at the highest point.
That's the
And it's
most amount of
so
glitter.
dramatic.
Yep.
And she is running and we're gonna see him glow and he takes off his shirt and she's like a little bit of sparkle.
but let's say his plan had worked and he gets himself killed.
I love this movie so much.
What is the liability for Alice, if any? And
yeah, that's a good question.
And
None.
I would say none because she didn't communicate it to Edward. He extracted that thought from her himself. He assumed the liability of like, hey, or the risk there in the fact that like her visions are not perfect. He knows this already. It's not like she's held herself out to be like, all my visions are absolutely
Right.
true. So I think that like she doesn't have any liability in any of this.
Another movie that we did that this reminds
boy,
me of,
what?
Minority Report.
Yes.
With the
Precogs.
precogs and their visions, and they're arresting people and taking actions based on visions that we then come to find out can indeed be faulty or planted improperly by somebody else. And it's the same idea. Whether it's Alice having the vision or Edward being nosy as fuck in her head, finding
Yeah.
out. Either way,
Like, why isn't Edward staying out of her head?
seriously, that's not cool.
Mind your own business.
Damn right.
And he's not near her because she says to Bella that he checks in every once in a while. So he's not even with the family. He's he's gone off on his own because
He went rogue.
He went rogue because he just
basically,
couldn't
he
deal.
would only have himself to blame.
He would.
And
You'd only have
yeah. And so basically, I think legally speaking, he doesn't like no one would have a claim for like a wrongful death or anything like that against Alice for that incorrect vision.
Can we talk about for just a minute the admissibility of their powers if we were to use them as like evidence in a criminal case?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, we talked about this
With the precogs.
Yeah, and we also talked about this with Ghost.
Oh,
Because-
yes, we did.
Because
You're right.
Oda Mae, it's like we talked about whether, and we even talked about how there was only one instance where a psychic, like it was admissible, like not it wasn't in court, but she led the police to basically exhume a body.
Yes.
And figure out because the ghost was visiting
the mom.
And saying, I didn't die the way they think I did.
Yes.
My husband killed me. And this ghost visited the mom like 3 or 4 nights in a row. And she like, and was so specific about what happened to her that the mom ended up running to the police and like over and over again being like, you have to look into this. You have to exhume her body. This is like the ghost visited me. And they exhumed the body and found that she didn't die of whatever they said that she did. She died of a broken neck and that it was exactly what was said that like her husband had killed her. Like that's what the ghost had said. And so we talked about whether or not like a psychic would be admissible, like their testimony would be admissible.
And the answer has to be no, because even Alice herself says it's not reliable.
Right.
The second the person changes any sort of action, the entire vision changes. So what she could have been seeing 5 minutes ago, in 10 minutes is going to be something totally different.
Could be,
right?
yeah.
So it's absolutely not reliable.
The one thing
It's
I
certainly hearsay upon
Much
hearsay.
like eyewitness testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I will say that Jasper's power, which they really barely even touch upon, like it's like such a like we know he has it, but doesn't really become as big of an issue as the other special powers. But that's a really useful one in court. Like you can sway the way a judge or jury is feeling about certain testimony. Like he could sit in a courtroom and make everyone in the jury box
Either feel
sympathetic,
empathy,
or
whatever,
or like this person,
leniency.
or angry towards this person.
Yeah.
Like you know, like that's the most powerful tool you can have in
You
a
know
courtroom.
what? It is, and you don't think much about it. You think, oh, it's benign, it's this and that, but influencing feelings can be a huge thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I also, the fact that Edward can read minds and that no one even knows he's doing it, I think
It's such a violation.
is such a violation, is such a huge issue that, I mean, if he really wanted to, he could absolutely go to every single cop in
And
town
notice
and
why
tell them.
only the relationship with Bella works, because nobody else would be able to tolerate something like that.
He'd be always
I
in the
don't
mind.
think any relationship could tolerate.
It's why
if
when we
you
first
can-
meet them, they're
Yeah.
paired off except him.
Yeah.
He's never had a relationship because like how
Who's
can you be
gonna-
with someone
how?
that, like
Yeah.
First of all, why would they want to be with him? Because they know like he can read their mind and that you have no privacy. But also it would be annoying for him that like literally
Well, but also the answer is that he had never met his soulmate until he met
right.
Bella.
Oh, yeah. But I will say what you were touching upon is that he could go to the police and say, look, I can literally get a confession. Like I can tell you who did anything.
But prove it. Prove it.
I think you need to build up a record and have it be right like 100 times out of 100 times.
Similar to the psychic thing. But again, how
But
are
it's
you?
psychic. Like, do you have a psychic that like
Do you know what I'm thinking? And how do you prove that that's what I'm thinking?
have them write it down on a little piece of paper?
But how then do you prove that it is in fact what I'm
Is
thinking?
this your card?
What do you mean? Look, you put him in a room with like 100 people and have each person like write down what they're thinking in a little piece of paper that only they have. And then he goes and says,
but-
this is what you're thinking about.
Yeah, but I'm lying. Like I can write down on a piece of paper.
But wouldn't
I
he
love
know what they
apples.
wrote down anyway?
No, I know. But like, I go to you, I'm Edward. And I read your mind
Yeah.
and I also write it down.
Okay, you're lying. Prove it. Prove to me that you didn't just make it up
Because you both wrote it down.
Because we both wrote it down.
at the same time.
Yes.
But what if I write down something different?
He would see that.
When
And
you're
he'd
writing,
also, he'd write it
Oh my
also.
God. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Moving on.
I'm just
I think it is
saying.
a provable power. I think you could prove it. I don't know that they would ever bring him on for that reason, but he would be a very powerful tool for like any kind of detective work or any kind of
Sure.
or the court system.
I feel like I'm going to know the answer to this question, but have you guys read Fourth Wing? Anybody?
Nope.
Anybody at all?
No.
Cool. All right. So Fourth Wing is
It's a
part
kid
of that.
thing. Your kid's reading it, right?
No. It's not a kid thing at all.
Too young for her?
No, yes.
It's a sex
no.
thing?
Yes.
Yep.
It is.
I thought it was like one of those YA books, right?
But
she's
like
too old.
older.
She's too young for
Yeah,
YA,
but it's like a little bit older than that. Anyway, part of the premise, God, I can't believe I'm talking about this on air. Part of the premise is that they have special powers after they bond with dragons.
Right, as one does. Obviously, first of all, Avatar. Got it.
Yeah.
Come on.
The dragons
This is a
bestow
whole supernatural sex fiction
1,000%.
thing, Jenny. Come on.
The dragons bestow upon them certain supernatural powers. And
If they're really good?
calm down, they're not having sex with the dragons. Relax.
I thought you just said that.
No. No. I meant
It
this.
sounded like you were implying that.
Right?
No. Oh heavens, no.
I was here for it. I don't know.
No. She's clutching her pearls again,
No,
Diana.
guys,
What's up?
no, we're not
Okay, tell
advocating
me.
for bestiality here.
Okay.
No, the
Talk
idea
to me.
is that you get special powers, and sometimes those powers are mind reading.
Mm-hmm.
And that in that universe that the Fourth Wing author has created, Rebecca Yarros, in that universe, mind reading is a very, very dangerous power.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is found out that that is the power that the dragon has bestowed upon you, you are
get killed?
immediately killed.
Ah.
Like their necks are snapped because it is an extremely dangerous tool. Like number one, we don't know that this is your power until it is revealed. Most of the time it's revealed because someone starts going nuts because they hear all the voices in their heads simultaneously.
Makes sense.
But it's so dangerous because the premise is that everybody's at war. So like you now know what everybody's war plans are, and it's a huge problem. And so if you turn to the enemy side, like it's a huge problem. And so mind readers are immediately taken out. And so I feel like the fact that he can read minds and we're just like accepting it as no big deal, it's sexy, is a huge violation.
I don't think we say that's sexy. It's the relationship between him and Bella. That's
and the
sexy.
fact that she
And
can't
he
read, that she
can't
can't
read her mind. So that makes it okay. But let's talk about what's not okay.
So
about
I want to get into
relationship.
the Edward and Bella of it all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
first, we're going to talk about the fact that this all starts like he's just stalking her and like watching her sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like that's trespassing.
Because he's
That's
obsessed with her.
invasion of privacy.
Smell.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Invasion of
Apparently
privacy.
she's very stinky.
Okay, he watches her without her knowledge or consent. He enters her house or bedroom without consent. That's trespass. He, it's harassment. There's so many things. Like, if she wasn't fully in love with him, I would be like, oh, there's a huge complaint coming your way.
But then he
Does
plays.
she have parents?
She has
her
a
dad
dad
has a
there.
dad.
and her
She
mom is
actually ends
elsewhere.
up there because her mom died, and so
No,
Oh,
Her mom is
she
traveling.
didn't
Come on,
die. That's right.
Liz.
I'm sorry.
Liz.
You're right. I remembered wrong. Her mom
But she
didn't
goes
die.
to live with
Her
her
mom
dad.
is traveling with her new
With
She
her
doesn't
new
really have,
husband.
She doesn't
Yes,
really
yes,
have
yes.
a relationship with her dad, but she goes
Right.
to live with him.
He's the get this, Josh.
like the
He's
sheriff or
the
the
sheriff
police
of
chief or whatever.
Forks.
He's the chief
Classic.
of police.
Yeah,
Got it.
and so
And his brother is in charge of knives? Got it.
yeah, yep, yeah, he's Canadian, and so. And so that's why she's there. But her dad's also like, kind of like, oh, this teenage daughter that I barely know. Like he's kind of hands off about things. But basically, there's a slew of criminal and civil liability there that he commits before they even start dating.
And Papa is very suspicious of Edward, clearly with good reason.
And yet Papa, the chief of police, doesn't even realize that the vampire is in his house.
Well, because
every single night.
That's why it's like
Okay, but-
extraordinarily difficult to prosecute him because he's basically like a supernatural trespasser
it.
because he can move faster than the police could ever
Absolutely.
respond to it.
Correct.
He's so fast. But then
Naturally.
let's take it now the next step. Eventually, spoiler
like
alert,
bat
they
wings.
start dating. They start dating, and eventually they get married. Now, we talked about this a bit that she's 18
When they
she
get
marries
married,
him,
she's 18,
but he's
yeah.
over 100.
Yup,
He's-
sure is.
He's 104 years old. Okay, and
was damn good for
when they started
104.
dating, and this is like we said, it was very PG, so it's not like they were physically like sexual with each other before they got married, before she was 18. But when they were dating, she was 17, and he was technically 104 years old.
Okay.
And so I just feel
As it happens,
like the question being, does chronological age matter for legal capacity when someone has been physically 17 for all these decades?
I just don't know how to answer this question. Also, because if physical age,
It doesn't matter. There's no prohibition about an age gap.
no.
Both parties just have to be of legal age
Right,
or have permission of a parent
but by
to
the
get
way-
married. An age gap between
way-
parties doesn't matter.
By the way, what's his legal age?
well,
His legal age is 17.
His legal
Well,
age
because
is
it's
dead.
forged. It's forged.
No, but what I'm saying is that if we're going to talk about legal age, his legal
he
age
stopped existing at 17.
at 17. So now she's the predator.
I mean, but she, like, he didn't like, stop. Like, I mean, this being that's involved in this relationship has been on Earth
for 104 years.
Yes, sentient being for 104 years.
She's choosing her words very carefully.
Yeah. No,
legally,
yeah.
legally he doesn't exist because he died at 17. But if we're taking the being who's in this relationship, he's 104, regardless of what the forged documents might say.
Okay.
So the counterfeit documents. So I don't know. When she's 18, fine. It doesn't matter.
He's got amazing stamina for a 104-year-old.
When she's 17, it matters. I'm just saying, when she's 17, it matters.
This is PG.
And even if they didn't,
No, it's not, because we're going to talk about the wedding night.
Yeah. Okay, so I just think that when she's 17, I think there's an argument to be made that it's a 104-year-old and a 17-year-old.
So how do you feel about the physical relationship between a 104-year-old and an 18-year-old
on the wedding night?
Human and vampire.
Well, here's the wedding night issue. Okay, so that this is what I think is like, I don't know, fascinating, right? So
fascinating is a word for it.
We know that Edward has extraordinary strength and he can cause serious injury to Bella. And she doesn't, even though she thinks she understands, this girl sucks. And she doesn't fully understand. So she's like, no, I'm ready. No, totally fine with it. But like
that was a great Kristen Stewart.
He's not really informed consent.
He's very hesitant.
Because he is hesitant, but he does do it. And I'm just saying,
I feel like he was holding back.
But maybe, and like, spoiler alert, like the next morning after their wedding night, like she has bruises all up and down her body.
The house is destroyed.
Physical injuries, broken furniture. The house is destroyed, and like, you know, technically she consented, but wasn't really informed consent because she doesn't know truly the extent of his powers, and he does. So even though he was hesitant, the fact that he did engage in it, I'm just wondering if there's an argument of like, can consent be legally meaningful when one party possesses like a massive physical power advantage that the other can't fully appreciate or understand?
I understand what you're saying, but
it's like an informed consent issue.
Okay, but she did consent, and I have to assume that they did it more than one time. If she was uncomfortable and didn't like it, I would have to assume that she would have stopped and he would have stopped. So the consent continued, and she knew after the first time that they did it what it was like. And she didn't stop.
You're right.
Because they went on all night. Like, I have to assume it happened more than one time.
However, for purposes of consent, if you think about it really, like, especially more modern days, like the last, let's say, decade or two, we have come to understand consent to be, you could consent to things that happen later in the night, and there could be a portion earlier in the night that would be deemed non-consensual.
Okay.
Or the other way around. You could have consented in the beginning of the night, but not at the end of the night.
Right, but what, like, for the argument of like the argument of like, well, if you didn't want it to happen, then why'd you continue doing things later in the night, or why'd you see him again the next day? Like that has been now. I mean, there's like countless like case law on this where like they have deemed something to be non-consensual, even if a relationship
that it's like individual actions, basically.
Yeah, even if a future act had consensually happened.
I also think if it's different acts, it might be a little bit more.
Well, no. They'll say like, oh, you guys like, you know, hooked up like that day, and then like later that night she came to your room again and hooked up again, and it could be like sex, and like they could say that the first one is non-consensual because of X, Y, and Z. She felt pressured, or he didn't ask her, or whatever it might be. He touched her.
But that's independent from the second act.
Even though she was consenting to a second act later that day, let's say.
Right.
They could find that first act to be non-consensual. And I worked on many cases where this was literally the outcome.
Would you say, would you say that it rises to the level of a criminal act? Negligence?
I don't think criminally, I don't think it would be criminal. I think it wouldn't rise to that. And I think but it could be, I think she could have if she wanted to.
Which she won't, because she's not.
She wouldn't want to, but if she wanted to, she could have maybe a viable claim for like a non-consensual, like a sexual assault claim, but like under civil law.
I'm just not sure because She wakes up the next day.
But she sustained injuries.
Yeah.
Right? So
she didn't fully appreciate like the
extent was going to happen. She could make an argument he didn't take sufficient care and was negligent because although he knew she was human, really fully didn't appreciate like what kind of an impact it could have had. He could have broken a bone or something. I mean, that could be.
I'm trying to remember when they wake up the next day.
He could have killed her.
He says, "I'm never doing this again," right? And she says, look at me, I'm fine. It's just a couple of bruises, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But he's the one who's basically like, this ain't ever happening again because I almost killed you. And she's just like, nah, man, I like it.
So clearly Bella's into BDSM. It's fine. It's all good. Everybody's got their tastes.
I have another question that sort of piggybacks off of this. The fact that she then becomes with child.
Yeah.
And
Are you
they're all
suggesting he has
shocked.
super sperm?
Well, I also want to
they're
know, how
all
does he produce
shocked.
sperm if he's dead?
Yes.
If
that's
a woman
great
can't
question.
get, you're saying like, what's her face?
Is that where you were going with this?
Rosalie.
Sort of.
Rosalie can't get pregnant. She's so upset that she's a vampire because she will never be able to get pregnant, carry a child.
Right.
How come he could produce sperm?
Well,
Working sperm.
So I guess this is where my question.
Great question.
This is where my question sort of goes into. He was under the impression that this could never, ever happen.
Right.
Well, now not only has it happened, she now has to give birth to a vampire child. And the only way for that to happen is for her to turn during the birth itself, because otherwise she's dead,
Well,
right?
technically, no.
No, if they had done like a proper C-section, like she didn't expect. Remember, he was out of town. Like Carlisle was out of town. Everyone was out of town, and basically, all of a sudden, earlier
bent
than they
down.
expected.
Because she bent down and cracked her spine.
Yeah, because she broke her back, and the baby like had to come out, and all this stuff. But like, if they had like pre-planned, they could have probably done a proper C-section, gotten the baby out.
Well, I think they were planning to. I think they had like all of these plans in place. But
And then
I'm
everyone
almost-
went out of town.
No, but I'm almost positive they were concerned that like the scalpel wouldn't. Didn't he have to like cut her with his teeth because?
I think he just had to get in there as fast as possible.
Is
His
that what it
teeth
was?
Yeah.
Well,
because for some reason Carlisle was out of town.
I guess my point is as follows: the fact that he didn't think it was going to happen, but it did, and it led to her almost death, and it led to her being turned.
Right.
Negligence? What are we talking about here?
I don't think so, because it's what she wanted all along.
No.
She didn't
but
want a baby.
She didn't want to get pregnant and like
All
that.
right.
But like, he didn't
But
know.
she's not going to turn down having
didn't know 'cause it's
Edward's
never
baby.
happened.
Was it his responsibility to know? No, because he's technically 17. Was it Daddy Cullen's
Probably.
responsibility?
Maybe.
You have created this entire family who basically you've been telling them how to live.
It's all been experimental.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Does anybody have any liability over the fact that there is now this like vampire child that
Hybrid.
sure
She's not fully vampire. She's
Okay.
a half vampire, half human child.
with the most
She
amazing
has
name
blood.
of
Renesmee.
Thanks, Bella, for that one. She has a heartbeat. She's warm, not cold.
She grows.
She
Only to a certain
grows-
point.
Actually grows astronomically
Yes,
fast.
very, very fast. But then she will stop growing when she's like
The
21.
CGI on that baby was
Horrible.
rough, man.
Oh, yeah. No, that was rough.
I don't understand how that's what we got when it was like the movie came out. What, like
2009.
right? So that's
2008.
like right. So that's like
The last one?
No, the
No,
first
later.
one. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That was
like,
so
yeah.
much.
like almost 20 years after Jurassic Park, and this is what we're getting. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it was awful. But yeah, I think that in terms of, I mean, the vampire C-section is insane to begin with.
Tell us, Diana. I know you love the vampire
He does
C-section.
the vampire C-section. I mean, he has to perform an emergency C-section on
And
Bella.
basically
Edward does.
eat her.
And he literally has to use his teeth
Not in a good way.
to just
No.
like cut through the womb
Yeah.
and her tummy and it's like
Oh,
he's not,
but then he has to. But then he has to
that's
like
like a medical
seal the,
malpractice. He doesn't have a medical license.
He then has to seal the wounds shut, and so he like licks them.
Because vampire
no,
saliva
there's
is
no
magical.
no informed consent. Okay, there's no like
Josh is like, the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
the patient is like basically unconscious. Like and like you know I don't know. Does standard of care apply to vampires?
And then he stabbed her with the thing, right? With the what's that pen when they jar you back to life?
Yeah.
What it's called?
Yeah.
like
He stabbed her with the thing. Ugh.
Yeah, what they
Can't
do
think of what it was.
with an overdose.
Yeah, the Narcan.
Yeah,
Well, that's-
something,
no, that's
Kind of like that.
something like that.
that's only for an overdose.
EpiPen?
No, like
No, it's like when
Sorry.
you're having a heart attack and they jam it in you to like shock you back
it doesn't
awake.
matter. The point is, I guess if it's analogous to something like if a woman is in childbirth and there are complications, the father's not going to be held responsible. for those complications, right?
Right, but the father's not performing a C-section with his mouth.
That's a separate. No,
He's
that's a
the
separate
fa-
issue.
he's
that's a
the
separate
father,
issue.
but
I'm talking more about the fact that should Edward have predicted that she would then be carrying his child that would be half vampire that would kill her? I think the answer is probably not.
Probably no. I'm gonna go and
Right, but then should Carlisle have predicted it?
I think so. I think he was her physician,
Sure.
technically. And he's also the one who created all of this. And I think he did have a duty to understand fully what that could mean and all the outcomes. Like, I think that there's so much negligence there. Not being present, not anticipating that this could happen, not putting in safeguards, and I don't think he did enough. He didn't do enough.
The fact that Edward basically comes to the family and is like, hey, listen, Bella and I, we had a chat and we decided I'm going to turn her and she's going to become a vampire. You guys cool? And the fact that they all agreed to turn this 18, other than Rosalie, the fact that they all agreed to turn her, or that it would be okay for her to be turned.
That's
this
not on them.
18-year-old child.
But that's not on them.
It's not on them, but it's to the point that you were saying that it's the negligence of it all.
Yeah.
That these adults, Esme and Carlisle, who have taken on this parental role for all of these, let's be clear, children, are just not really taking into account all the possibilities. Like, Bella, are you aware that you could die? Are you aware that he might not have enough self-control to not let you bleed out? Are you aware that you're now going to be alive forever and ever? Her prefrontal lobe or whatever cortex, it's not developed yet. As a 17-year-old, she decided that she's in love with this boy and she now wants to be a vampire.
Right.
I mean, I feel like this is a cautionary tale for teenage girls everywhere.
I mean,
no?
they should be showing it in middle schools.
It's
But in all
right next
fairness,
to Teen Mom.
Yeah.
Carlisle and Esme are not her parents.
They're not.
They don't really have a duty to her, and they feel like Edward is their son, and they want Edward to be happy. So they're happy.
No one has ever consulted with her father.
They're happy that
her
there's.
parents.
Well, they can't tell her father.
Okay, so Edward comes to them. Let's just change the fact pattern a tiny bit, and says, "I'm in love with this girl, Bella. I'm gonna kidnap her. She's gonna live with us. It's gonna make me real happy." And they're gonna be like, "Okay,
I
yeah."
don't think so. I don't
So
think
what's
they would
the
say
difference?
that. I don't think they would
Because
say
she
that.
consents. Because she's into it.
And they've been
Bella's into
they've been around her all this time, so they know her now, and they know how she thinks, and they know what she wants. It wasn't like an instantaneous
No.
thing.
I
And he
mean-
didn't kidnap her.
I mean, it was like a 2-month thing. From the time that she moves to Forks to the time that she decides she's madly in love with Edward and presents her neck to him is like the span of 2 to 3 months.
She did not present her neck.
At prom, she
she
sticks
did.
her neck. She sticks her neck out.
He's like, no.
And she thinks he's gonna do it, and he like gives her a kiss, and he says, "No, no, no." That's at prom. It's literally a few months after she moves to town.
bitch. Anyway, so I can't with her. I hate her. What a terrible. Nothing against,
Guys,
nothing
she's
against
a
Kristen
teenage
Stewart.
with
Just
raging
what a
hormones.
horrible
Come on.
Well, isn't that part of the
character.
problem? Why should a teenager with raging hormones make such life-altering
All right.
decisions?
Now that we've gotten through Vampire C-section,
Yeah.
now we've got ourselves a baby.
A baby.
A baby. It's Renesmee.
I want to see
She's
the baby.
She's an immortal child. Okay, so let's go back
With
to
a
our
creepy face.
and let's go back to our whole Volturi discussion. Okay, and the whole immortal child law.
Yeah.
Okay, so they prohibit creating immortal children, like we said, because immortal children cannot control themselves.
So
but
this
she is
causes
not
a
an immortal.
whole
She's
nother
not an immortal
problem.
child, though. She is a rapidly aging human/vampire hybrid. So now
that they've never seen before.
Right. So now it becomes a question of,
And
are we
again-
going with a statutory interpretation, right? So it's the plain meaning of the law versus the purpose intent of the law. The plain meaning is no immortal children.
This entire storyline in Breaking Dawn is so
Or
stupid.
Okay, but the intent,
And yet I
if
love
you
it.
look at the purpose or intent of the law, it's that no beings who pose the danger associated with immortal children are to be created. So this is where like a legal analysis becomes like at play. Like whether the Volturi under their set of laws
Are you
have
a
the right
strict constructionist?
Right, exactly. Do you
Or-
because if it's the latter, then she has not violated the law by existing, right? Because
Well,
she
and
doesn't
that's
pose a threat.
That's what they're arguing. That's what
And
they
she
ultimately
also
argued.
Right.
technically wasn't turned.
She was not.
Right, she was just
She was born-
But if the law
born that way.
But if the law is just stated as no immortal children, plain and simple, then technically, then she is in violation of that law. So it becomes a question of the plain meaning versus the intent of the law. And obviously, in the end, I mean, there's a whole showdown, and
Carlisle loses his head.
well,
Sort of.
temporarily. I mean,
That was literally the most shocking
know.
part of the entire movie. When I sat
Yes,
there, I
yes.
could not control the gasps.
Everybody.
I was stunned.
The whole movie theater, I remember,
what
because
a
it wasn't
good
in the
fake
book.
out. I mean,
It
I guess
was-
everyone who's listening,
And it
has
was
probably seen
not
all
in
of
the
this,
book.
right?
No, in the book, Alice.
Was it? It
In the book, how
shocked
was it?
me.
How was
I'm trying to remember in the book. In the book, Alice shows him what it could be, and she shows Aro that he dies. But in the movie, they bring, I guess, that entire scene to life
and have it play out, which
and
is a
have it play out.
hypothetical. Like a
But we
potential.
don't know that it's a hypothetical. We
As
don't know
when you're watching this movie, you think that
Right.
what's happening is they just start to attack each other, and Carlisle dies, all the
And
other people die.
Aro rips off Carlisle's head and is literally holding Carlisle's head. And I remember
Yeah.
it in the theater. Everyone went, because
Yep.
everyone is sitting there. They're book purists, and everyone is like, "What just happened?" And then, of course,
Yep.
it is Alice's.
Just vision
Flash
that she's
forward.
showing them, like this is what's going to happen if you take it this far.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, then they have enough time to find out that there is one other child like Renesmee somewhere in the world. I forget where. I want to say South America.
In South America, yeah, because
And
they
that-
go.
this happened one time.
Alice and Jasper go and track him down.
Right, so they're
Yes.
off on their expedition to find this.
And he's hot.
Yeah, he's hot. and what they find out is that when
the-
a baby
in the
is
Amazon
born,
or
and I
something,
forget
right?
I forget what like the exact like fact pattern of like his birth was, like how that.
It was a vampire with a human woman.
Yeah.
and she survived enough to give birth to him.
Yeah.
right. And so,
yeah.
And
But the
Without
mother
her-
died.
the mother
Oh, the
died.
mother
Yeah, the
died.
mother
You're
died.
right.
He comes with his aunt.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
right.
Right,
You're
and so
1000% right.
they find out that when you are like, when you're born to a human mother, but you have to a vampire father, that what happens is that you will rapidly age, and then you will just stop aging at
Right.
21. But you're not like uncontrollable.
Which
child.
actually was a huge relief to Edward and Bella because they had no idea what was
Where
going to
this is
happen with
gonna go.
Renesmee
Right.
and what was going to happen.
If
And they
she
were
was just gonna
afraid.
die
They were
within, like,
afraid
2
she was going to
weeks.
die. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that probably brings us to our last topic and the perfect topic to end on.
Oh boy.
Jacob the werewolf imprints on a baby.
Jacob.
He literally, because as we all know, werewolves can imprint.
we all know.
We all know.
If you're listening to this episode, you know.
You
if
know.
If you've gotten this far,
You
you know.
know.
That is part of the werewolf
Like
Lore.
life.
Werewolves, they're
and it's
not.
actually an absolute law for them. Like,
Yes.
you don't mess with this.
Well, because
Where
there's
the hell
no,
you been,
there's no
Loca?
avoidance. But there's also no way to avoid it. There's no avoidance. Like there is nothing. It's so genetic that there's not like you're not abiding by anything. That is truly what happens biologically to you. Is that two werewolves will imprint on each other, and it's like,
No, it doesn't have to be a werewolf.
or like it doesn't have to be a werewolf.
No,
It's-
you just imprint on somebody.
But like it's soulmate status.
Soulmate
it's
status.
not something you can even fight because it's like genetically in you.
Which is ultimately what saves Renesmee and prevents the pack from attacking her and the Cullens.
Right. It's because
And
Jacob,
breaking their treaty because
an
they had
18-year-old human / werewolf boy,
Right.
man, legally, imprints on a baby. Like the moment he literally meets a newborn Renesmee, he is like, that's my soulmate.
Yes.
I would like to argue that A, that's fucking
on.
creepy. B, that's grooming, and it is like pedophilia status to me.
Oh my God. I cannot
Okay,
disagree
now we
enough.
argued this so
so hard.
Oh my God.
I cannot
There's
disagree
the
with you
arguments
more.
of consent and autonomy and guardianship here. Okay, it is so disturbing. It is the single most disturbing legal
He is
issue
not- okay,
in this entire
I
movie
need you to stop
series.
because he is not having intimate relations with a baby. Okay, this is not.
But he intends
even
to.
close to.
Which is how
He
you
doesn't
groom.
Intend to.
Grooming is not that you're having the relations. Grooming is that you are preparing
be
this
fair.
child.
This child, this life force, is everything in the world
Life
to
force.
him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Everything. He will lay down his life to protect her.
that's sweet.
It is
That's
the
very
most
nice.
beautiful, chivalrous thing I have ever heard. And you are attempting to taint it with your disgusting portrayal of it as creepy
I
and
think
pedophilia.
It
okay?
can be both, aw, how nice, and also
creepy.
grooming. Look, his imprinting is involuntary. It creates like a permanent, essentially a permanent bond with Renesmee, right? And yes,
Nessie, for sure.
Let's call it Nessie, right? Because that's what they do. And you know,
You named her after the Loch Ness monster.
I know the movie insists.
You know what? That's better than the original name.
I know.
You know what?
The movie does insist that it's not necessarily mean like a romantic relationship at the start while
It
she's a
does
child.
not.
But
Yes.
and that he's her friend and protector until she's older, right? But legally, it's like First of all, can a person be bound by a supernatural relationship they didn't consent to? Like, she didn't choose for him to.
So, I mean,
print
in
on
theory, I don't remember if they touch on this, but in theory, she can say, nah, man, I don't want you
She
to be
can.
printed
Oh,
on
in theory,
me.
she could.
And he will
Except
never-
that
he
He
will-
is helping raise her from the moment that she is born and grooming her to
love
eventually
him.
love him because she doesn't have that ability. She's not an adult who could say, you know
So-
what, I'm sorry you imprinted on me.
I'm sorry, one of the cutest scenes ever is when she's riding on
Riding him,
Jacob's
yes, it's
back and
adorable.
hugging him around the neck. It's the
Diana
cutest.
thinks it's super adorable.
I think it's an
the
adorable scene until
cutest
you think about the
thing.
fact that eventually he's going to fuck her.
Diana, must you ruin that
Wait,
beautiful
listen,
moment?
I have something to say. Hold on. Before you guys kill each other, I have something to say. When Bella wakes up from her vampire coma, because she's very strong and willpowered.
Because now she's a vampire.
Because now she's a vampire. But remember, all baby vampires are nuts. But Bella wakes up and she's like perfect. She's perfect.
Perfectly normal, I know.
Perfectly normal. But that's not the point. She wakes up and she realizes that he imprinted on her baby. And she loses her shit.
I know
right?
she goes to attack him.
Which is different than the book. Do you guys remember that? In the book, it was Edward that flipped his shit about it.
Well, but I think-
not her.
I think in the
and they
movie-
switched it in the movie.
I think in the movie they implied that Edward also initially flipped his shit,
and
but
then
then
learn to be okay with it.
learned to be okay.
So by the time
In
she
the-
wakes up from her coma, he's like, no,
in the-
babe, it's cool.
In the 3 days that she was in her coma.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Right. But Jacob defends himself and is like, it's not what you think. Like, that's not. He sort of is saying what you're saying. I'm going to be her protector. I'm going to be her friend. And then when she's old enough,
I'll be her lover.
he didn't say that.
No,
He said
no.
he implied it. He said
Yeah.
something like about a potential for like I don't remember exactly how he says it. Josh, you might have to pull it
She'll
up
be
and
my partner.
put it
Like we're
right
gonna be
into
like
the-
romantic partners. Like yeah, essentially like it's
And
a
then there's
soulmate.
a scene-
He didn't
and
mean
then-
that we're gonna have a lifelong friendship. And
I don't think
platonic.
I don't think
Did you think it was platonic?
You guys are perverting it. It doesn't automatically imply
No,
a romantic
but
relationship.
there is a scene in the movie where they flash forward and Renesmee is now older and she has now reached her full maturity.
know.
And they are hugging and kissing and they are now romantic partners.
okay.
Because she was groomed to be that. I mean, she literally like his presence is coercive because the bond is supernatural and irreversible, and he's
Okay.
helping raise
So
her.
he
doesn't
says-
stay away and wait until she can make her own choice. He is literally helping to raise her, and like she doesn't really have a choice.
Okay,
later
we
on.
don't have a year by year depiction of her
No,
growth.
but we just see no.
So
He
we
says-
don't know if he's hovering around the
He
entire
says
time.
everything is different now, that his whole world revolves around her. And he asks Bella to remember how he described it before, insisting the pull isn't romantic, that
Right.
Renesmee is simply the center of his gravity, and he'll only ever be what she needs him to be. Meh. The gravity framing is the piece fans quote most, and it's also the wording critics point to, since, quote, he'll be whatever she needs until she's older, is exactly the part that unsettles people. It's that part where he says, until she's older, where he's basically like, because when she's older,
and then we're gonna do it. That's
That
exactly
because
the
you're all
implication.
a bunch of creepies
Everyone
who are
agrees
reading it.
until she's older.
Everyone
It's
does
there.
not
It's
agree.
literally- It's like plain as day.
Clearly,
He'll be
I'm
whatever
not
she
part
needs
of
until
everyone.
she's old. Until she's older.
And then we see
like,
what
I'm gonna
happens.
sit around
it's
and wait.
not an automatic. You guys are making it sound like he changed her to the fucking basement until she agreed to be in love with
because
him.
that's not how grooming works. Grooming is a
Oh,
slow burn.
Maron.
It's a slow process. You earn the trust and that adoration of this child until
Or
she's
maybe
older.
he's
Until
her
she's
best
older.
friend.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Of course
Maybe
he
she
gives
was
her
a
piggyback rides.
Maybe
Of
she,
course.
she could have been a lesbian. What do you guys know?
He gives her piggyback
There's that
rides.
flash forward thing.
He gives her piggyback rides, and then he gives her piggyback rides later again.
Well, that's only because a Mormon wrote it and she's not allowing it to be.
I'm just
LGBT.
saying that he might not. He didn't have a choice about the imprinting. Like that happened. Like he had not chosen to imprint, but she certainly didn't choose to be imprinted upon.
No.
And the fact that he's so involved in her life from birth onward presents, I think, a grooming type relationship. Whether he is purposely doing it or not, that's just the outcome. Like he's always intended to be with her.
Like
at the
she
end.
almost has no choice but to.
It's all she's known.
Well, he'll
Right.
be there in whatever capacity. So if it's Big Brother,
until she's older.
fine.
Liz, what you're getting stuck on is that they're both immortal. If they weren't immortal and they were both aging the same amount,
Yeah.
and he was like, let's say 18 when she was born,
He is
and then-
18 when she's.
And so
Okay.
she would have been 18 and then he would have been 36. So what?
and he's known her his whole life, that would be creepy.
It's creepy.
I should also point out he's not going to be like he's not immortal. Like he does age. Like werewolves are not like
just ages
vampires.
slower.
True, but they age
ages
slower.
She's going to stop aging at like let's say 21 and never will look older. So at some point he will look like he's
He will.
65
Yeah.
and she is going to be 21.
And she's going to be younger. Yeah, that's true.
But it's all she knows.
And he'll probably still have abs.
Literally,
so.
yeah, it's like
Well,
being
you
raised
don't
in a
know.
cult or something.
The sequel to this might be that she leaves his old ass. What do you know?
I know. Maybe she'll file
Or
a
she
restraining
buries
order-
poor
restraining
Jacob
order.
and finds herself a new sugar daddy. I don't know.
Well, now I'm sad.
All right. Well, I think then we've sufficiently ruined
Guys.
this. Guys, this was...
I mean, you guys have ruined it for me because you're trying to
Good. We
pervert.
did it.
You're trying to pervert Renesmee and
trying to
Jacob.
apply the law. That's what we're here for. We
Yeah.
ruin things with the law.
I feel like
I
How many
object.
how many vampire bites?
we've done.
many vampire bites?
We've done enough.
I
the
mean,
law?
this one deserves
Zero?
a lot of
Oh, but in terms of like the law that's being followed,
none.
zero. Great.
Zero.
Great job.
None.
Enjoyability?
Oh,
1,000
I mean,
out of 10.
Okay, multiple pints of blood. What can I
for
tell
as
you?
long as
No
the vampire
notes.
lives.
That's it.
No
I'm
notes.
telling you, when they do the marathons where they show all the movies back to back, like in a day, like on TBS or whatever,
Impossible not to.
I will sit there and watch.
Wait,
Pause.
and then what's my favorite song?
Wait, I did this
All
just
right.
for you,
He's
Jenny.
he's just gonna play it over.
Yeah, just play it over me so that nobody
No,
hears
that's
me.
not.
I wanted to wear my Team Edward t-shirt. I actually wanted to wear a
No.
t-shirt that said, "Where the hell have you been, Loca?"
Jenny,
But it
Jenny.
didn't come on time.
I have died every day waiting for
Josh,
you.
this is the part where you turn us
Darling,
off.
don't
Tell everybody where they can
Yes,
find
yes,
us.
I have loved you for 1,000.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Liz is going to play us out.
I love you for
You can find us
Stop
on
it.
find us on Spotify and
Instagram,
Apple Podcasts.
on YouTube, at Let's Ruin It Podcast. Stop leaving us nasty comments. That's
No.
very
Continue.
uncommon.
No.
Are you kidding?
Keep it coming.
Continue.
Especially the guy who thinks women can't be podcasters. Come at me, bro.
I
Come
love
at me.
keep those comments coming. I kind of love them, and I'm gonna make a T-shirt out of that one comment.
Yeah.
All right, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
All the things.
Instagram, Let's Ruin It Podcast. Send us suggestions.
I highly recommend the YouTube. You can see the shenanigans.
Thanks so much.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.